It's Bedlam Week, and we're with Coach Gundy, and let's start with a conversation we had before we started the formal interview about Ollie Gordon. You were talking about the fact that he's a smart football player, an intelligent runner. So what's that look like? When you talk about him being a smart runner, how do we see that? How's that evident?
So we do a lot of things with our backs. We've condensed him in the last 6 weeks, but he's able to learn and absorb information. He understands path. He understands where the cut should be based on the blocking scheme. He understands protection, and he's been a good receiver. We talk a lot in our culture about being a smart football player, and that we try to eliminate ways to beat ourselves. And he falls into that category. He's been really good at running and making cuts and such, but he plays the game smart. And as long as you do that, you give yourself a chance to play at a high level, which he's done over the last 5 or 6 weeks.
Sure. What has been the biggest key for the offensive line turning around?
We've just narrowed down our offense, and we've made the commitment to getting good at these 3 or 4 blocking concepts. And repetition makes us all better.
Sure.
Should have done it a long time ago. We experimented with too many things over the last year and a half. Now we've gotten to what we feel like gives us the best chance to rush the ball, move the ball offensively. I think it's helped our linemen get a feel for fewer number of plays for technique and fundamental, and then our backs seeing and having good vision for those type of blocking schemes and not seeing so many different looks when they're running the ball toward the line of scrimmage.
What would you say that Alan Bowman, your quarterback's greatest evolving strength is? Something that just keeps getting better for him?
He's been good for our team from a leadership standpoint. He's distributing the ball in the right place the majority of the time. And he's playing tough and physical. Now, we've protected him really well from Game 3 on. After Game 3, we've been much better protecting the quarterback, and it's helped. But sometimes a quarterback just has to be a manager. It's got to be positive. It's got to be tough. Got to know how to distribute the ball. Got to know what benefits our offense more so than him, and be unselfish. And he's done a really nice job of that over the last month.
Do you feel confident now in saying that your team is a physical football team and an intelligent football team? Would you feel confident saying that about this team?
Yes,
those
I
two
would.
things?
I feel that way. Physicality on offense up front has increased considerably. We all know that. Defense is getting a little bit better each week. We drive home being a smart football team. Things we live on, our DAT concept, which is we want to be disciplined and we want to be tough. Discipline covers a lot of areas. Being a smart football player falls in the discipline category.
As far as Bedlam is concerned, you've been asked about this all week. Can you be emotional about it? I mean, well, it's not really emotional. But can you even stop and think about it right now? I mean, you're getting ready to play. You've got a team on a roll. It's a big game with all kinds of ramifications beyond Bedlam. So does your mind even go there?
Not really. We're so involved in what we do each week. We're creatures of habit. Coaches across the country, players across the country are in their 4th month of really not a day off and long hours. And so the challenge is to stay mentally and physically involved with what we're doing, coaches and players. The same for me. So I haven't thought much about it. It doesn't cross my mind unless somebody brings it up to me. Mm-hmm. Like if you wouldn't have brought it up right now, that's not something I think about. But honestly, I think I will next year when the season's going on and I've catch myself not having a clue or not really giving any thought to who Oklahoma's playing, what their scores are, who Texas is playing, what their scores are. It's just not things that cross my mind right now. And I think once we get into a situation where nobody really cares what they're doing, it'll start to set in that's pretty weird, that nobody even watches their games or watches the scores.
Is this your biggest challenge, rushing the football against a team that is really going to most likely be dedicated to stopping it? We
went through some of it last week. Cincinnati was very good up front. Oklahoma's very good up front. They're giving up 3.7 a carry. And I think and would guess that their defensive game plan is going to be devoted to stopping the run. If I was playing us, I would think that that's what you would want to do as a coach. So our challenge is to continue to rush the football to balance our offense. In most cases, when teams go all out to stop the run, it opens up passes. It's a real simple process. So we have to do a good job of coaches of balancing and attacking the defense based on what they make available to us. So we can't just come in a game and say we're going to rush for 200 yards no matter what, because it's a numbers game. If they put an extra person in the box the majority of the time, he or that person would have to fit the wrong gap or we'd have to break a tackle. And those percentages aren't as good as being able to facilitate an offense based on what they give you.
Right, right. The phrase run-pass conflict is often used. Defensively, as you face Oklahoma, what do you have to do to minimize the amount of time you're spent dealing with run-pass conflict? How do you do it?
So, in my opinion, their strength is getting the ball sideways and using the width of the field, which stretches out your defense and allows you to rush the ball, allows you to run the quarterback some, which they like to do. This is an Art Briles pedigree offense, which he was a master and really good at stretching the defense the 52 yards of the field width. So, in my opinion, we need to play physical on the perimeter and minimize that and allow us to do a good job of inserting players to help stop the run without giving up big plays. That's the challenge with a defense like this.
Yeah.
I mean, with an offense like this, that our defense is trying to keep them from attacking us sideways, but also defend the run.
Time now for What's Your Beef is brought to you by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Managing players now, this isn't really a beef, but it has changed. You have red shirt concerns. Leon Johnson is an example of that. It's a lot different, isn't it?
Well, it is a What's Your Beef.
Okay, fire away.
Managing young people in general, managing college football players is getting closer to, I'm guessing, what you do in the NFL. The NFL has a front office, right? General managers and people that can manage some of the things that we as college head coaches are managing now.
Sure.
Ultimately, we might have a front office if this continues on. Somebody's going to have to manage the financial availability of certain players based on their production. So it is a challenge from the standpoint of, in the NFL, they have transparency in what you're dealing with. We don't have transparency, so we really don't have any indication of what we're up against. So we're just somewhat guessing and trying to manage a business not knowing what the budget or the financial implications could be.
Yeah.
That's really the direction we're going right now in college football. I said this in the staff meeting the other day. I think in a year or two, which they already have some across college football, you're going to have general managers that manage that side of the game so coaches don't have to deal in the financial side of college football.
Yeah, some very interesting dynamics. Bedlam this weekend. We're looking forward to it, and we will see you next week.